Hey everybody, this is Zeno and welcome to the Dynamic Prepper. Well, today we have another flashlight from ThruNite on the review bench. By far the smallest flashlight I have ever reviewed. I've had a couple of you guys asking out there about some smaller EDC flashlights, things that can be attached to keychains and the whatnot. So that led me to reviewing the ThruNite Ti3, and I'm very excited to take a look at this flashlight today for you. When it comes to tactical flashlights, my basic definition of a tactical flashlight is really any flashlight that's bright enough to obscure the sight of your assailant or would-be assailant, especially in a low light or nighttime situation. If you have a flashlight that's bright enough, you will actually screw up the vision of your would-be assailant, take away his night vision, so to speak. And even after you turn off the flashlight, their sight will be all screwed up. They won't be able to see properly. They'll have green strobe lights kind of, right in the center of their field of vision every time they blink their eyes for quite a while after you even turn off a bright flashlight. That's really, in my opinion, the basic requirement of any tactical flashlight. Tactical flashlights can also be made with, strike bezels and things like that that can be used as improvised weapons, and that's a plus. But in my opinion, that brightness factor is really the key to having a tactical flashlight. The problem with small little keychain flashlights is that very few of them actually reach the brightness level of a tactical flashlight while still retaining that small form factor of a nice, lightweight, very small EDC flashlight. And that's why I bring to you the ThruNite Ti3. And you're going to be amazed to discover that this is a 130 lumen flashlight, which is amazing for a flashlight this small. Let's go ahead and take a look at it real quick. So it comes to you in this really nice little tin. I mean, this is definitely something that you could repurpose. Great little tin. Actually really like it. And inside, we'll go ahead and open it up. We have a owner's manual. We have a silica desiccant pack. Throw it away. Try not to eat it. I know it's hard. And then we have a small bag here which has our keychain spring clip and also a spare O-ring for the flashlight itself. We have a little thank you card from ThruNite. You're welcome. And then we have here our actual flashlight. Look how small this is. It is 70 millimeters long, 14 millimeters in diameter. Its spec weight is 12 grams without the battery. We also here have a little pocket clip if you care to put that in. There's a couple different configurations that you could put this clip on. If you wanted to, you could put it on like that or like that, whichever way you wanted to orient it. So let's go ahead and get rid of all this for a second. We'll concentrate just on our flashlight. Let's bring in our scale and check that spec weight, shall we? So place this on there. And we're coming in at 10 grams. Little bit slightly lighter than our spec weight, but really the difference of a couple of grams is negligible. And so it's a very lightweight system. It runs off of a single AAA battery, so it's a very lightweight, very small, very compact system. And again, I'm going to say this is a 130 lumen flashlight. It's amazing for a flashlight that is literally this small. This almost pushes the lower end in size-wise of something that could be used as a keychain light. Now, as you know, I like to try to find comparisons to these lights so that I can sort of give you something to sort of base it off of that we can compare it to. And the closest I was able to come in my personal collection was this Fenix EO1. It's a very similar size. It's slightly heavier. It's not contoured quite as much as the ThruNite is, but it's a very similar concept flashlight. Roughly the same size, comes with a keychain clip that you can clip it to your keychain and use it. Both of these lights function pretty much the same way and have a lot of the same features, save a couple of extra features that the ThruNite has, and that's really where I want to use this as a comparison for. So both of these have a hard anodized black finished aircraft aluminum construction. They are both rated to IPX8 waterproof rating. They're both impact resistant up to 1 meter. They both operate off of a AAA battery, one single AAA battery. Let's go ahead and put a battery in each of these and take a look, and that's really where these two are going to start to differ. So we'll put a battery in this one. So these are, there's no button here. These are just twist on, twist off. Very, very common for flashlights of this size to function as a twist light. So I'm just going to put a battery in each one. Same battery, brand new, same brand, no difference. Okay, very, very similar systems, these two. Okay, the biggest difference that there really is here is this particular one here, the Fenix. There's no lens over the top, and then the reflector in there is actually machined aluminum. So that reflector is machined. You're looking at the inside of the aluminum cap there, and it's just machined very smooth. As opposed to the ThruNite, it does have a lens, and then inside is that orange peel finish. So it's a textured lens inside of there. And we've talked about this with past ThruNite flashlights. What that orange peel lens does is it kind of softens up that beam a little bit and throws the light slightly broader and just gives you, in my opinion, an overall more useful beam. So first of all, I'm going to go ahead and turn this one on. Okay, so we'll screw that down until it turns on. There it goes. So that is a 13 lumen flashlight. Okay, it has two modes, off and on. So we would technically call that a one mode flashlight. 13 lumen right there. So the ThruNite, this is really where the Ti3 really differentiates itself from other keychain type EDC flashlights like this. Okay, so I'm going to turn this on, and I'm going to screw this down all the way, and there we go. And as you can see, that is really, really dim. Okay, barely even shows up. That is actually in Firefly mode. So this is a moded flashlight. This has 4 different modes in a 7 mode cycle, and this is really where this gets interesting. So when you turn the flashlight on, it will default to Firefly mode. If I turn it off by unscrewing slightly and screwing back slightly, it will go to the next brightness level in the mode, which is a 10 lumen flashlight. So now we're almost even with that Fenix. This is 13 lumen. We're now on a middle or 10 lumen mode in the ThruNite. If I do it again, turn it off and turn it back on, I am now in the 130 lumen high mode, which is at this point in time the brightness level of what I would consider adequate enough to be considered a tactical flashlight. Much lower than about 100 lumens, and I don't consider them to be tactical flashlights. They're just not bright enough to really obscure the vision of a would-be attacker in a low light or nighttime situation. It would be annoying, but it wouldn't really function on the level of a true tactical light. In my opinion, 130 lumen, you're definitely getting into that range at this level. So if I screw it off and then turn it back on again, I'm back in the low light mode, the Firefly mode. Okay. Now this actually goes through that mode twice. So we have Firefly, mid, high, strobe. Okay, so that's our strobe mode. Firefly, mid, high. Now we're going to restart. Firefly, mid, high, and then strobe. So there's 4 cycles in a 7, 6, or 7, depending how you look at it, cycle mode. So we're going to go that Firefly, mid, high, Firefly, mid, high, strobe. So that's the cycle it goes through. So we were just in strobe, so we'll go Firefly, mid, high, Firefly, mid, high, and then strobe. And then we'll start it over again. So that's the cycle that it goes through. if you want to cycle through those different modes. If you leave the flashlight alone for more than 10 seconds, it will default back to the Firefly mode. So that is its default lighting position. So if I turn it on, it's in the Firefly mode, which is the small, I believe, half lumen setting. If I take it, for instance, all the way up to high, which is the 130 lumen mode, if I were to turn it off, turn it back on, it'll go into Firefly. That's the next one in the mode, in the cycle. Here's our mid. Now I'm going to turn it off for a second. I'm just going to let it sit. Now if I did this within 10 seconds, our next cycle mode is high. But if I leave it longer than 10 seconds and then turn it on, it will revert back to default, which is Firefly. So there we go. So that's its default setting. So every time you turn this flashlight on after not using it for a little bit, it's always going to be in that Firefly low light mode. And that's really what I struggled with this flashlight, is the fact that every time I turn this flashlight on, it's in this little, really dim, half lumen Firefly mode. And in order to get it up to even, the mid mode, which would be comparable to that one, you have to click it twice. I was already in, but if I leave it off for a little while, we'll just leave it off for a few seconds there, just allow it to reset. But every time you turn this light on, it's going to be in that Firefly mode. So if you want it to really be, in my opinion, a usable light for utilitarian purposes, which is primarily what you're going to use a light like this for, you have to turn it on and then turn on again in order to get into that 10 lumen mode, that middle mode, in order for really, in my opinion, the flashlight to be in a useful utilitarian mode. And of course, if I do it again, we'll be in the high. There we go. Oops, there we go. So I didn't actually turn it all the way up. There we go. So now we're in the high. And you do have to cycle through all the modes. And that's another thing. One of the reasons why I liked, for instance, the Archer series from ThruNite is you didn't have to cycle through all the modes. If you turn the flashlight off, when you turn it back on, it's in the mode that you last left it on. It doesn't reset itself. So if I leave it in a high mode, tactical mode, very, very extremely bright light, and then I turn it off and I'm walking around and, I go into a store, I come back out, walking to my car, I see somebody, I want to illuminate them. If I turn this on, it's automatically in that highest mode, so it's very useful that way. It's one of the things I didn't like about when I reviewed these and I compared them to some of the other brands or the rival brands out there. Some of those flashlights you have to cycle through all the modes in order to get to a high a brightness factor on their flashlights. And that's one of the reasons why I liked ThruNite for this category, because you turn it on, it's in that mode. It has that memory. This particular one does not have that memory. If you turn it on, it's going to be in that low light mode. So you have to cycle through a couple of modes in order to get it up to that, what I would consider to be a tactical level brightness at 130 lumen. That was a little bit of an issue for me because I don't like flashlights that you have to cycle through the whole mode. On the other hand, a flashlight of this size that has a mode feature is almost unheard of. And that's one of the things that I think is kind of a trade-off. At one hand, you have a small AAA version light that is extremely bright, that has a mode feature. The fact that you kind of give a little bit back by having that be a mode feature that you do have to cycle through each time, I think is kind of a give and a take. I understand that we don't have a push button, or in this case, multiple buttons to control the on-off and the mode in the flashlight. We just don't have enough room for that in this type of flashlight. I guess it really depends on what you consider to be a useful light. If you want your light strictly for utilitarian purposes and just want it to be an on-off, like the Felix here, that would be definitely something you could take into consideration. This light here will run you a little over $10. This light here runs you about $20. There is a different version of the Ti3 on ThruNite's website that comes with a slightly different LED. It's still a Cree LED. This particular one that you're seeing here comes with the Cree XPL V6, which is 130 lumen LED. It also is available in a version that comes with a XP-G2R5, and that is a 120 lumen version, and that's available for $5 less. So the G2R5 on their website goes for about $15, and then this one, the 130 lumen XPL V6, goes for about $20. So it's almost twice the price of the Fenix. However, you are getting that mode feature that you just don't get. In fact, in the Fenix lineup, you don't get mode until you jump up to the Fenix E12, and that's 130 lumen, like the ThruNite is. It is a 3-mode, so it's getting into a multi-mode setup. It is a AA battery flashlight, though. So again, these are AAA battery flashlights. The Fenix E12 is a AA battery, and it goes for $30. So you're jumping up to a different form factor in a AA battery, so it's a considerably larger light, and you're also jumping up another $10 in price point above the ThruNite to get into 130 lumen flashlight. So Fenix doesn't even really make a flashlight that competes at this level. So that mode feature is definitely an interesting feature at this price point and also in a AAA format. We really don't see that by too many flashlight manufacturers out there to offer you that bright of a light in a AAA configuration. The drawback is the runtime is fairly short. In full 130 lumen mode on a AAA battery, your maximum runtime is only about a half an hour. Again, this type of flashlight is going to be a utilitarian flashlight, sort of something that's going to, allow you to have something at your disposal when you need it in a pinch. It's not going to be a workhorse. If you want a workhorse flashlight, you got to go with something bigger, at least into a single AA battery or more in a flashlight if you want something that is a real workhorse. This guy right here is just going to be sort of a utilitarian flashlight, something that you have with you that you can turn on and accomplish what you need to accomplish and turn it back off. It's not going to be a workhorse. I like it as sort of a little backup to an EDC flashlight like that, something that is a small form factor for a keychain. My wife really likes flashlights of this size, and she loves the fact that it comes with modes. It depends on if you like carrying these small flashlights. Some people like that. Some people like to just be able to toss one of these in their pocket or have it clipped to their keychain. Other people like to put these in small little survival kits, like a little survival tin or a small survival bag, and throw it in the glove compartment of your car, have it shoved down the bottom of your purse or your EDC bag, to have some survival items that are available to you as backups in an emergency situation. Little form factor flashlights like these work really good for those. So there's a lot of different uses for a flashlight like these, and something that gives you the versatility of the ThruNite I think is highly useful. Something I definitely am glad I own and I see a definite use for. So again, another quality product from ThruNite. I love the fact that they use Cree LEDs. I love the fact that they give you functionality and features that really not too many other manufacturers give to you in these size forms and also at these power levels, giving you extremely bright, very durable, and affordable lights. I've yet to meet a ThruNite flashlight I wasn't impressed with, and the Ti3 is no exception. Take it easy, everybody.